She hated me the moment my husband left for military service. Every day was torture, until one night I collapsed, crawling for help. If it wasn't for a dog's bark, I wouldn't be alive today.
When my husband, John, was called up for military service, his mother and I both cried as we bid him farewell. It was emotional. Watching him leave, knowing I was pregnant and he wouldn't be around for months. But the moment I walked back into our home, everything changed. My mother-in-law started raining insults on me. "Evil witch," she shouted. "You've given my son voodoo drugs to make him treat his own mother less." She pointed at me and continued, "Do you think you are important in his life? You're just a bedwarmer, a baby maker. In fact, that baby in your womb, who's the father? I'm not even sure it's my son. You bewitched him, you witch." It went on and on. For the respect I had for my husband, I never raised a word back at her. This was the same woman who treated me nicely whenever John was around. I made sure she was well taken care of each day during her visits, only to be repaid with bitterness the moment he left. Before John left, he'd prepared a house nurse for me. But Mama refused. "What am I here for? If I can't take care of my daughter-in-law and my grandchild, then what's my use?" she said. Now this same woman was calling me a witch. When I couldn't take the insult anymore, I called out softly, "Mama." My voice was weak. It was already time for my folic acid, but she wouldn't even let me breathe. At the sound of Mama, she poured the wine in her glass on the floor and yelled, "You ungrateful girl, who is your mother? Do I look like the wretched people from your family?" That was the last straw. Insulting my family was too much.
I stood up to walk to my room. Maybe a little space would calm her down. But as soon as I stood, she pushed me with her foot. The push was so strong that pain shot through my lower abdomen. Shock flashed across my face. This was my husband's mother. How could she? "Mama, my tummy," I cried out, clutching my stomach. She looked at me and said coldly, "Yes, and so?" Then she walked off. My world crashed. John had only just left, and there was no way to reach him while he was en route to base. Life became unbearable. Mama made me wake up as early as 4 a.m. to clean the entire penthouse, do the dishes, and cook her meals, all freshly made every day. One day, she asked me to make moi moi. I went to get the beans flour from storage, and she screamed, "So you want to poison me, right? That's how you've been poisoning my son too." I tried to explain, "Mama, this is how we make moi moi here." But she interrupted, "You won't get me, you witch. Use fresh beans and make it from scratch." "Use fresh beans and make it from scratch, you lazy girl. In my days, we gave birth on the farm and still worked till evening." I was exhausted, sweat dripping down my face. Behind me, my mother-in-law sat, sipping her usual tea. After working for hours, I winced, clutching my belly. Yet, my mother-in-law snapped, "And don't forget to scrub the bathroom after cooking. My son's house must not be dirty." A house that takes 3 full-time housekeepers to clean was what Mama obligated me to clean every morning.
If you never want to have a wicked mother-in-law like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Later that day, I had finished cooking, my legs trembling. Mama came to test the food. She spat it out immediately. "Too much salt! Is this how you want to kill me for my son?" she said, furious. Before I could explain that my taste buds had changed, Mama slapped me, causing the tray of hot moi moi to fall from my hand. I stepped back instantly, avoiding the heat from burning my skin, breathing hard, clutching my stomach. Later that evening, she told me to fetch water from the tap in the kitchen because the one in her bathroom wasn't running. I was about to tell her that it wasn't possible or that she could use the shower in any of the other bedrooms, but one sharp look from her told me to just carry the bucket and go fetch the water. Carrying the bucket up and down the stairs. This was the third fetch, but Mama said she needed to keep extra water just in case she wanted to shower again. I was tired. My whole body ached. Walking slowly with the bucket of water, my steps were weak. My mother-in-law walked past me and scoffed, "Pretend all you want, you will still fetch all the water." Suddenly, I felt a sharp pain. I let out a loud scream and dropped the bucket. Holding my belly, pain shooting through my body, I called out to her, crying, "Mama, please, I think the baby." My mother-in-law just folded her arms and said, "Yes, and so?" Then she turned away.
With no one to help me, all I could do was crawl my way to the door, hoping, though it was a slim chance, that I might reach the gate and someone passing by might see me. I was exhausted. John's team had already moved and I couldn't reach him. The stress I had faced in the past few days was unbearable. I had missed my doctor's appointments, my feet were swollen, and I felt constant sharp pains in my waist and stomach. Right there on the floor, crawling for my life and that of my baby, every movement felt like fire burning through my body. I used my arms to drag myself forward, tears streaming down my face. I finally lay on my side, unable to move anymore. That's all I remember. When I opened my eyes again, I was in a hospital bed. The first thing I thought of was my baby. I tried to sit up, but a sharp pain in my stomach forced me back. The doctor walked in and said, "It's a miracle, madam. Both you and your baby made it. The man who brought you here did so just in time." His words echoed in my head. What man? The last thing I remembered was crawling out of the door. Later, I learned that the neighbor's dog had found me and barked non-stop until its owner came. The man broke our gate lock and called emergency services. That's how I was saved, and my baby too. When I saw my little boy in the incubator, my heart melted. John's number still wasn't going through, but I knew he'd be proud.
The next day, when I woke up from rest, I saw someone near my baby, and my heart skipped. It was Mama. She was wearing her fake, caring face, pretending she didn't know what had happened. She even lied to the nurses, saying she'd always told me to rest, but I was too stubborn, trying to prove I was a hard-working wife. I couldn't even argue. I just laughed quietly. All I wanted was peace and for her to stay away from me and my child. When John finally returned, I ran into his arms and held him tight. He was my home. Then I showed him the videos I had secretly recorded of his mother's treatment toward me. He was furious. That was the last time Mama ever stayed with us or visited again. Later, she told people, "My son no longer loves me since he married that girl." But how can mothers not understand that their children have their own lives, especially when they are starting their own families? I hated her for what she put me through. If it wasn't for that dog, I don't think I'd be here today. Please like and subscribe and tell me your thoughts. Should I have forgiven her, despite everything she did to me and my unborn child?